Benjamin Netanyahu is considered by the UN to be a war criminal. So why does the UN have a different opinion of him than Donald Trump? And how guilty is he if they think he's a war criminal and obviously America doesn't?
Well, the UN had, 12 of their employees that were caught enacting the terrorist event of October 7th. So I don't think the UN is the best source for morality. I agree. Like condemnation of other people for doing things. The UN it's an organization that I would say has an agenda that is totally anti-American. They want to globalize. It's essentially the New World Order. Right, so I don't take anything that they say seriously. They can go fuck themselves.
My brother in Christ, the UN was created by the United States.
Yeah, but they're anti-American. It's like it doesn't matter if it was created.
The UN, no, the UN.
Frankenstein was created but he tried to kill everybody. Like it's a silly argument to say it was created by the United States, therefore it's pro-American, right? They are anti-American. They support the same people that.
It's not about it being anti-American or pro-American. It's just that this is the international institution set up by the world superpower post-World War II, the United States, the global hegemon, created the UN to administer international diplomacy, to create peaceful settlements. That was the reason. It was to prevent genocides. Mm-hmm. It was to prevent war crimes.
They were supposed to prevent genocides, but their own employees were trying to commit one on October 7th.
I feel like you're going to make a baseless claim like that. You're going to have to back it up with
Look it up.
sources.
They've already been tried. They had gotten rid of the employees. Pull it up on the screen. UN employees.
The UN has been completely gutted by Israel. There are no UN workers in Gaza, in Palestine, because Israel has completely destroyed
what's
the
about to pop up
infrastructure.
on the screen is probably going to shock you if you've never heard this before, but the UN had literal employees.
It doesn't matter, though. You see,
it doesn't matter.
The point, no. The point is because you're going to pearl clutch about October 7th as a terrorist attack when we know that Israel is a terrorist state and that the original act of aggression goes back to the occupation. And that's why in my opening statement I said the principal contradiction here is occupied people versus an occupying force.
How can you occupy your own country?
Because you don't understand international laws.
No. How do you
understand
occupy
humanitarian laws?
Is Palestine a country?
Absolutely, it's a country.
How is it a country? Who's the president? Where does he live?
The fact that Israel has socially engineered it to be a rump state, basically, without an administrating force or an administrating body, is not a point in your favor. Okay,
what's the currency?
This is what
what's the currency in Palestine?
What's the what?
What's the currency in Palestine?
Where are there any buildings in Palestine?
Do you know what the currency
Where
is?
are there any infrastructure? Where's there any education? Where's there any schools? Where's there any hospitals?
Palestine? Do you know this? Do you know the answer to this question? What is the currency in Palestine? You do not know this.
Even if they have a currency, though, it could still be a genocide.
Like it's a complete obfuscation of the point. These people are occupied. They don't have schools.
This argument is whether or not Palestine is a country. Let's focus on that point. Is Palestine a country? What's their currency?
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they are a country. They are a country that has been recognized by the international community as having being a sovereign territory. They are being denied their human rights.
Canada did recognize them.
They are being denied human rights. They're denied having a currency. They're denied having trade. Okay. They're denied having an economy.
Does America, the number one superpower in the world, recognize Palestine as a country?
The United States does not.
Okay, so you can say that some person recognizes it, and you can say that some person.
No. You don't say some person. Right, we're talking about. Remember, let's go back to the UN.
No.
191 countries recognize that Palestine is a country. You don't. Now you don't give a shit. Then what the world community thinks?
I'm an American.
It's just what America thinks.
My country doesn't recognize that country. My country doesn't recognize that country. Right.
So try not to speak at the same time. I know this is going to happen a little bit, but let's try to get.
Let's get back. Let's break this down. I'm going to simplify. If Palestine is a country, right? What makes them a country?
I'll tell you what makes them the country. It's what the ICJ advisory ruling opinion established in 2004, okay? In 2004, the ICJ established that the Palestinian people do in fact exist.
Yeah, they exist.
The second thing that they said was that the territorial unit belonging to Palestine is the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem.
So it's a territory.
No, the territorial unit that is those three territories, that makes up the sovereign country of Palestine. All three of those territories are occupied by Israel under international law going back to 1967, UN Resolution 242, which gets voted on every year, and it is vetoed by the only world superpower.
For a good
United
reason.
States and Israel both veto the UN Resolution 242, which is unanimously agreed upon by the world community.
What is the national?
Real quick. This argument though is kind of frustrating because like there's even small tribes off of islands of Indonesia, and they don't have a currency, they don't have anything. And Australia, Indonesia, the main countries that they're connected to, will do whatever they can to preserve
those will
these
be
tribes.
Australians. They're not.
What I'm saying is they're actually not a part of their government. But I'm saying just because they don't have a government doesn't mean that they don't have a right to exist.
Palestine is a place. Palestine.
It's a place. That's what I'm saying. See, we're
Palestine
being
has
disingenuous.
Palestinians, right?
Yeah.
But if you say I live in Texas, I am a Texan, right? I'm not in the country of Texas. I am in the state of Texas. Palestine is a state in Israel. It's a region, a territory in Israel. Their currency is the shekel. There's Hebrew written on their money, right? They are Egyptian and Jordanian originated people that one would argue are the actual settlers, right? So if you look at even the name Palestine, where did it come from? Who named it? The British named it Mandatory Palestine, obtained from the League of Nations in 1920 until 1948, right? And they got that name from a territory in the Ottoman Empire, right? Why did they name it Palestine? The Philistines were a group of people who lived on the south coast of Canaan during the Iron Age. They were an immigrant group from the Aegean civilization in Greece.
Look,
during the Bronze Age. Hold on.
I understand.
Remember Goliath from the Bible? Philistine, right? Philistine, Palestine, it was named that as an insult to the Jewish people because when the nation state of Israel was created in 1948, they agreed on a territory. What happened in 1948?
Are you saying that Goliath was Palestinian? Is that
Correct.
what you're saying?
Yes, he's a
Nephilim giant.
Philistine.
Well, that kind of makes Palestine more badass, right? I mean,
I think David's more badass because he killed him with a fucking rock.
but I'm just saying, if you're a big giant too, that's cool. I mean, there's something kind of cool about Goliath.
Look, my point is, it's not a country just because some countries say it is. You have to go through actual steps, and you have to become an actual country. And they're not an actual country. You want them to be a country. That doesn't change anything. They are not a country. Right?
They're not a country because the world superpower.
So you just agreed that they're not a country.
Okay, but even if we agree that they're not a country, then
don't take my words out of my mouth out of
I'm saying,
context. I mean, come on. I understand you're in your feelings, but international. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. No,
ahead.
it's your thing. I'm just saying, regardless if they're a country or not, that doesn't negate the fact that a genocide is probably happening.
Thank you.
I mean, how is a genocide happening?
I'll let you guys debate that. I'm just saying, regardless
move
of
on
whether
to that.
they have a currency or not.
How is there a genocide going on in Gaza?
Well, what is a genocide?
A genocide is the systematic, right, intentional killing of a people group of ethnicity, religion, or origin. It is not anti-terrorism. It is not trying to kill Hamas, because if you throw leaflets down and tell people, get the fuck out of there, if you drop more bombs than you kill civilians, then that's not a genocide. If you're vaccinating the same people that you're trying to genocide, if you have people that you're trying to genocide in your government, working, living in your fucking country, it's not a genocide. You can't call it a genocide when they're doing such a bad job at it. Israel could commit a genocide tomorrow.
That's really a silly argument to make for the
then refute it.
Simple fact that you can look at the Gaza Strip right now and 90 to 95% of it is reduced to rubble. The IDF has internally reported that at least 83% of the people that are killed in Gaza are civilians and not combatants. This has been admitted by Israeli officials who have made public statements that have acknowledged that yes, they are committed to wholesale destruction of the Gaza Strip. That shows genocidal intent, and indeed, when you look at the Gaza Strip, you can see the destruction of an entire civilization. They have been removed from their place of origin, from their homes, transferred to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. That's a war crime already, okay? They are being systematically targeted because as they're being starved, they're being lured into these bait food traps where they're shot down, and by God, if they are given flour, they'll have drugs in it. You know, they'll be laced with poison by the time that they get.
Okay, first of all,
I get it from
your argument that it looks like a wasteland, right? You can pull up a picture right now of what Japan looked like after
Japan
Hiroshima.
that was the imperial empire of Japan. It's not an occupied country.
Okay, but they look
Palestine is an occupied country.
You pull up pictures of Dresden. You pull up pictures.
Japan was starting wars with the United States. Like they had a military,
and
they had
Hamas
an army, they had
started a war
a
with
navy.
Israel.
Palestine has been systematically deinstitutionalized, de-developed by Israel for decades now.
So you said that Japan
it's not a fair argument.
So you said that the reason Japan looks like Gaza is because Japan started a war with the United States, and that's why it looks like Gaza.
No, I'm not defending your Hiroshima bombing that you're just saying, oh, yeah.
Okay, what about
when they dropped the nuclear bomb? I don't they killed 300,000 civilians.
Was Hiroshima a genocide, or was it was it a necessary military action?
Yes, it was absolutely a genocide.
To prevent Japan from
No, it was wanton wholesale destruction of entire cities.
Not a genocide.
And killed hundreds of thousands of civilians.
Not a genocide.
That is genocide in whole or in part.
Was Operation Gomorrah a genocide? When the U.S. and the Royal Air Force bombed Hamburg, Germany, specifically targeting civilian areas in order to break the Nazi regime, 9,000 tons of bombs were dropped, right? And what happened? It demoralized the Germans because when you are in a war, when you are in a war, the way you solve a war is you make it untenable for the other side to continue. If the thing that those people care about is their infrastructure, their buildings, their civilian population, whatever, that's what happens. Is there a genocide going on in Ukraine, in Russia, or is that two fucking people fighting because one of them started a fucking war? And this is what you fucking people don't understand. You keep using the word genocide. You keep on trying to hammer it into people's heads. It's not a fucking genocide just because you say it is. There is a specific
You're right.
guideline.
It's not a genocide because I say it is. It's a genocide because that is what international institutions have concluded.
Well,
legal
they're
experts,
retarded, and so are you.
people that are devoted to studying this and investigating this. This is what they say.
Well, appeal to authority is usually the fucking argument.
It's actually happening because we have iPhones now. Israel's not going to survive the age of the internet and the iPhones. Okay, just like Jeffrey Epstein wasn't able to survive.
I think he does have a good point, though, that the internet is hurting their cause right now because even though your arguments are going to be, well, Palestine is running a great propaganda campaign. I saw Megyn Kelly say that, and that's for me that is so dumb
silly
to think that people in caves or, literally in tunnels are running some strategic marketing campaign that is making Israel look bad.
It's not them. It's Muslim. It's the entire world.
Well, I know you could say Qatar.
Oh,
you could
it's
say
Muslims.
this and that. But to that point, though, why won't Jordan, and this is, I guess, to you, Rathbone, I am of the opinion these people should get a free house somewhere, maybe in Jordan or Egypt. But Jordan and Egypt don't really want to take the Palestinians.
Bro, they already have.
Well, I'm saying they've taken a lot. I know.
There's already millions
So I'm saying,
of them
how
there.
do we, because we are going to keep arguing this, how do we solve this? Because you and I are both not naive enough to think that Israel's ever going to stop. You know that they're never going to stop. I think you would argue that they're now, after October 7th, it's only going to get more intense. So I guess, what do you think the solution is?
I think the solution is just what's going to happen, which is that Israel is suffering a cultural death right now. It is dying on the world stage. Public opinion has completely shifted. There's no way that's tenable in the long term, and that's the cultural death precedes the economic death. Eventually, there just won't be as much immigration to Israel. People have already left. There's a whole side of this other story that doesn't get reported because
Tarantino just left. He was living there and just left because of all this stuff. He's one of their biggest.
I didn't know that. But,
he just left. Him and his wife just.
People don't want to, do business getting bombed. You know, and when you start wars with 7 other countries, when you are belligerent and aggressive against everyone else in the region, people tend not to want to do business with you. It's the same thing that happened in Saudi Arabia with Yemen. They were embroiled in a civil war. Saudi Arabia was bombing Yemen. Yemen was actually retaliating against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia wants to be a global hub for capitalism, wants to be a good trading partner for Western European countries and the United States, and they can't do that when they're getting bombed. And nobody wants to do business with people that are, their investments aren't safe, Well,
that's why it's a really good plan for Donald Trump to take over the Gaza Strip and turn it into some type of Abrahamic Accord related hub of trade and currency.
He said he's going to build Margaritaville.
Because if you think about it,
wow, that's so brave of you.
Hold on, but think about this.
Say that.
Think about it.
Shops.
Can you imagine if the Ayatollah Khomeini said anything about, like, I don't know, Washington D.C.? Yeah, we should just pave over Washington D.C.
Yeah, but again, it's not.
It's not going to happen, right? Because they don't posture towards us in the Western Hemisphere the way that we posture towards them.
Horrible analogy
in the Middle East.
Aside, imagine if I spoke with the opposition leader to the King of Jordan, and he was talking about how they'd love to welcome in more Palestinians. Egypt doesn't want them because a lot of Palestinians are supporters of Hamas, right? And they need to go somewhere. If you are Hamas or a supporter of Hamas, sorry, you have lost your right to be there. So you're talking about
your right to live. If
you don't lose your right to, I mean, I would argue that if you are partaking in any
kill all the Muslims.
If you are partaking in
just kidding.
But if you are a supporter of Hamas,
I'm satirizing him.
If you are saying that I agree with Hamas and I would like Hamas to continue what they're doing, I would argue no, you don't have a right to live. You're fucking no. After what they did, I mean, imagine if our government did what Hamas did. Imagine if the American military went into Mexico, cut people's heads off, raped women, set people on fire.
Zach, Misfit, real quick though, we do have a clear example though. America fought a war in the Middle East that killed millions of Muslims, and at the end of the day, they told us that this was a war on terror and they had to eradicate the Taliban. But we all saw that the Taliban is still in power in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah,
I'm just saying there was a time everybody had the same sentiment as you, that every Taliban person deserved to be 6 feet under, and now we know that our country, that's not necessarily true. We actually kind of worked with the Taliban. So
to quote my favorite retarded comedian Dave Smith, that's a non-argument, right? Because it's not the same thing. The war in Iraq was a huge mistake, and it was a political war. It was an operation through George Bush's narcissism that did that. This is an ideological war. It is not a political war. It's not a war between two I would say dictators who are fighting over land. These people, not the Palestinians, all of them, but any supporter of Hamas wants to fucking wipe off the map every single Jew, every single Israeli, every single Zionist. And when they're done, they want to come to America and do the same thing. It is a radicalized ideology that hates everything about the West, hates everything about Christianity, hates everything about Judaism. They want to impose Sharia law all over the world, and they're doing a damn good job of it, because if you look at the UK, you look at the rape statistics in Germany, you look at everything going on in Europe right now, it's becoming a fucking problem.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.